Do I need the light? Okay, it'll help. Actually, you can like see my zip patch even more. So, anyways, disclaimer, these are my thoughts, opinions, commentary only for entertainment purposes only. Any A lot of different subjects could get brought up during this live. So, trigger warning for anybody who's been through various amounts of trauma. Oh my gosh, it just goes on and on. So I am out of the loop. I did not know this occurred like 2 whole days ago. I just found out about it a few hours ago. Well, it's been several hours. We were outside for hours. Hey, TWC, how are you doing? And I just had my weekly feeling to look up Titus Morris. I sincerely only look him up about once a week. Sometimes it's a little more than that. And I see that he made this video that was his apology to the public. I almost titled this Titus A. Aaron's worm because, or bit Aaron's worm, because Titus literally says that he's like, my mom says he's like trying to get me and like baiting me. And I did, I bit his worm. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's the kind of thing you have to laugh at it. It's funny, but it's not. But, like, this is just it brought up a lot of things that I wanted to discuss on my channel, but, like, we're talking about Titus Morris. He's somebody who is based here in Kentucky. He's a YouTuber. If you are unaware who he is, let me give you a brief rundown. Hi, Keith, how are you? So, he had a channel here established on YouTube, was platformed on Peter Santinello's channel, which if you don't know who he is, he travels around and he talks to people from, like, different walks of life. He has a very good channel, in my opinion, and he platformed Titus several times. His videos with Titus on them are some of his most viewed videos, if not the most viewed videos. He even decided to put Titus on his merch. It's like a map of our country, and Titus was on Kentucky. So, anyways, it all came out during a divorce court proceeding that Titus has been indecent with horses for 10 years into his adulthood, and he was indecent around children a few times, including one time he attempted to circumcise himself. So the reason I'm telling you all of this, like the reason why this is even being spoken about on my channel is because it's concerning to me that he still invites the public to his quote unquote church that he's raised several $100,000 for, which is not completed yet. And people donated to him after seeing him on Peter Santinello and becoming very inspired by him and his way of life. And I get that. I understand why people like seeing somebody live in the countryside, off the land, in a tight knit community, seemingly off $40 a month with no ID, which, like, a lot of these things were lies. I've been outside weeding all day, guys, but that's not the point. So recently, so he isn't allowed, okay, during the divorce court, he was with this woman who he claimed to be strictly platonic with, even though she literally uprooted her family from another state and moved down the road from him on purpose because she wanted to reside near him. But she was married with two children, had a third one while they are neighbors, and she's helping him with his YouTube. But all along, people are insisting because anybody with a left and a right sided brain would be like, are you guys romantic? Because they spend so much time around each other. They obviously have a lot of shared interests. Peter Santinello even asked, are you guys friends? And they're, oh, yeah, we're just friends. We're just friends. But within what, like 3 months of her being officially divorced, they were married, I believe. The point is, nobody, I'm sorry, I don't think many people believe that they were actually, it's just example after example of people that literally preach the word, they call it, to other people, try to tell other people how to live their lives. Meanwhile, they're breaking so many of the rules. And I'm bringing this up because 2 days ago, Titus went after somebody with a chainsaw. Titus, I want to cosplay like an Amish person and teach other people how to live like a godly lifestyle and how to be closer to God. I'm going to make a plan to cut down trees. I'm so sorry, guys. I have to unlock my door. The reason I bring up this chainsaw thing is because he came on his channel talking about good boy, you're a good boy. How he was going to cut down trees because of somebody being on a street that he didn't want on his street. So this is the godly man that communes with God. Probably I was under the impression more than the average person, but then in his apology video, he's saying, like, I know I need to what was the word he used? Counsel with the Lord instead of just like doing what I want. And this he went after somebody with a chainsaw. He schemed cutting down trees on a public road. Titus Morris does not own that road. I like what it's kind of like Trump, you know? People are very cult like in their behavior often. We're like tribal species. We're a tribal species. It's ingrained in us to want to be a part of the in group. So whatever your in group is for you, we're all over the place with so many groups now because our communities are so big. And like ideally, and like the brain works best with like 150 to 200 people. It's just like something that, sociologists and people that study these things have came up with that number, and it does make sense. I think ideally people would know everybody that like lives in close quarters with them. Oh, Gail, hi, Stephanie got her divorce in late January 2025 and immediately married Titus the end of February 2025, as I understand it. So not even 3 months. Wow, Gail, thank you for saying that. And so I just think this is super duper interesting that he said in his video, he said, "Follow God, not me." Titus said this. And I was like, yes, that's the best message I've ever seen Titus say. Because so many people seem to think that he is somehow in closer proximity to God with his lifestyle, with being closer in nature. And I do understand that. I'm not trying to patronize them. I'm not trying to say like they're wrong. It's just like, why do people still platform him, look up to him? He is supposed to be setting a good example. And he even said that people who are teaching the Bible, people who are evangelists, they need to set a better example for other Christians than what he is doing. And just like the way he talked, and like I've struggled with this before, and I'm just gonna say it with I know I could say this better, but it just seems like some people have to have religion lay out how to be a good human being for them. And for people that don't have to have that, it's kind of creepy. Like, I don't have to have anybody tell me not to cheat on my husband. I don't have to have anybody tell me not to be unkind to somebody. You know what I mean? And like, I do believe that the Bible is full of really good lessons. And I'm not trying to like knock on the Bible. It's just religion, It's like it's what flawed men have made out of the Bible and trying to use it to like oppress others and hold it over others' heads. And I do believe good people are gravitating towards it too. It's a spectrum of people. It's not just bad people gravitate towards it because they need some rules to no, it's not like that at all. It's like the way he talks in this public apology video, it really is insightful to how a lot of people who are obsessive to a certain point over their religion, why they feel the way that they do. And it is kind of scary. And I'm not trying to diagnose anybody with a personality disorder or anything, but come on, you're a father now. He's a father and he's running with a chainsaw that's turned on. Like he admitted to all of this. And I almost feel like he tried to get ahead of it for some reason, and he's like, even if I was running away from a tree, I was worried of falling and getting out of the danger zone of that, I wouldn't have had the chainsaw on. He's like, I that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And you guys, at a certain point, he's like, I don't want to take these people to court. I don't want to do it, and I don't have the money. And then all of a few minutes later, Stephanie's like, it costs $5,000 a person, and it wouldn't take that long, Titus, because he's like, I don't want some long drawn out court. And she's like, it wouldn't take that long. It's like, you can just, this is what, could you imagine how differently things could have played out if Titus would have kept to his own morals and like actually counseled with God about what should I do with this man's wife? I'm sorry, and it is none of my business, and I do feel bad speculating about it because I sincerely know nothing about it. But now they want to turn around, and I see comments. People are like, "What happened to her children?" And they're like, "Oh well, because of the divorce court, her ABUSIABE husband got custody because he has a multimillionaire father." And I just think that that's I think that they just shouldn't say anything about it at all because those girls are so caught in the middle, and those girls aren't spoken of on the from the content I see. I'm sorry, I don't watch every single one of their videos, but I've watched enough videos in their entirety that make no mention of the fact that this woman has three other children in the world. And I don't know if that's part of the court case, like she's not allowed to mention them, but or if it's just purely because they're trying to save face, they know it's bad for their image. That like this does lend light to like he is not allowed around your other three children. This is horrible. And like part of the reason why there's rules laid out for situations such as marriage and divorce and all these things in places like the Bible is to help avoid situations like this. So when you lust after somebody who is not your fucking husband, you don't proceed with it. You don't let yourself like go down that. And I'm sorry. Like I said, like there's always I want to always believe women. I don't ever want to come off as like I think that nobody is without fault when I'm like judging a situation. This is so horrible, you guys. He said, sometimes I do not trust the Lord to do things in his time and his way. And when I take things into my own hands without counseling the Lord, Then I do some stupid things which are an overreaction, such as taking a chainsaw. He asked his 18-year-old roommate. There's okay, there's always like one person who's super duper close to them and like living with them for months, and they're like in every single one of their videos almost, and then they leave and you never hear about them ever again. It's just a pattern that's obvious to see with this situation. And he said the 18-year-old boy even told him, like, don't do that when he was like, okay, so this guy that I don't like is here. And I didn't tell the story very well. Aaron from Beyond Category, he posted about it on his channel. So I'm assuming he wouldn't care if I talked about it. He made a post in the community tab. He's saying his dogs got loose, which then Titus used the excuse of his dog attacked a cat and a goat. Something like, and then there's so many, it was really concerning to see how good Christians encourage Titus to kill somebody's dog. You see, like a lot of the comments were like, it's on, and I get the sentiment. Like we had a neighbor tell us, like I just told that neighbor if their dogs kill another one of my chickens, the neighbors that I told you about, the wild chows, they were like, I told them if one of their dogs kills any more of my chickens, I'm gonna, and they were like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, I do get that. That's horrible, and I know a lot of people would, like, gasp at that kinda, like, country mentality, but that's if somebody's messing with your livestock, absolutely, you can take care of that if somebody's not taking care of their animals. At the same turn, you can see it in Titus's content. It is so common for there to be stray dogs, loose dogs out in the countryside. It's unfortunate. Um, we've had more and like, we always end up finding whose it is, but we've had more dogs just, like, wander onto this property that's, like, in the most isolated place we've ever lived in, but we've had more strange dogs come up into our property. You know what I mean? And so, anyways, it's always been fortunate enough that it was just a dog who was lost and it wasn't somebody dumping their dogs. I don't know if where they live, it's common for people to dump dogs. Unfortunately, there will be like places where it's just like a common thing and it's horrible. And we've seen dogs wither away and die because they probably had worms or something completely treatable. There's a really affordable vet in Liberty. It's extremely affordable. It doesn't get more affordable than this vet in Liberty. Okay. It's like it has to be prices from like the 1980s or 90s. I'm not kidding. It's like it doesn't get any more affordable. That's one reason I love this poorer area of Kentucky is like you can still have a pet and not worry about like well, of course, if you're far away from the affordable vet, that's another thing. But anyways, um it's just so common to have dogs out, and they've had so many different dogs just show up on their property and their channel that I'm sorry, they clearly don't care too much about their other animals because they just let these strange dogs that could have any condition or whatever just like around them. And it's also that same kind of mentality. Like it's unfortunate not all religious people, but a lot of them don't think animals have souls and therefore they don't treat them very well. And I don't want to paint a picture that all of them do the same thing because it's not true. There's this big trope that like Amish are abusive to their horses. Like not all. There's like anybody else. Yeah, some of them don't treat their horses as well as they could, but not absolutely all of them. No. Um and I even saw this one guy, like people were calling him a puppy mill. It seemed like he had a decent operation to me. It wasn't puppy mill-esque, if you ask me. So, anyways, those things are subjective. Anders dogs are dangerous. It is something that you have to put up with out in the countryside is my point. It's like really interesting to me that he starts it off with, I was scared of this dog. I was scared of this dog. So what is cutting down trees and blocking the road going to do about a dog that you're scared about? And I was just like in shock. I'm like, is this real life? It's if a child wasn't involved, it would be like literal entertainment, honestly. It's like it's sad to me that there is an innocent child involved in like just okay, so I'm gonna be a little probably talk about myself a little bit too much, but one of the reasons I believe I'm even still married is because I am a product of a broken home and I have a stepdad myself. And don't feel sorry for me. I'm just stating the facts. To this day, he makes it very clear who are his like real daughters and who are his stepdaughters. Okay. And that was one reason I was like, no child of mine is ever going to have some man make them feel like they're not his real child. My child, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it works out sometimes. I know blended families can be great, but my experience like ingrained in me that I'm going to do everything, and I'm not saying that people don't, but like everything possible to work on it with the father of my children. And it takes two to make it work. So I do not think that divorce is never good. I'm just saying it is like that. step parent situation that so many of us have been in, and my heart breaks for these children to have their mother use this baby as a literal prop. It's like, in my opinion, she was like trying to hold the baby facing the camera. This baby has a hiccup so often. Can somebody tell them about L. reuteri in case this kid spits up a lot, which I haven't seen, but L. reuteri is safe for newborn babies. Not all probiotics are safe for newborn's digestive tract. Like, you might see infant probiotics, that doesn't mean it's safe for like 0 to 3 months. You really have to make sure it's safe for little teeny tiny brand new babies. And like, that baby is just like trapped gas constantly. Maybe it's from trying to like their parents thinking she's a damn prop, trying to like prop her in front of the camera with this bright light. And I said something about that bright light in her face. And then I noticed one of his videos. I do not watch all their videos. Oh my God, they make so much content. Like, he was like, yeah, we put like tape over the solar light and like it comes in and like you can see it's literally looks like a shop light. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like brighter than any normal light that they have shining in his trailer. Like, there, no, I'm not making fun of that. I'm just saying he's like trying to play this. But you use a blender. Like, they make, why don't they get a regular lamp and plug it into whatever they're using their blender? Like, it would use less electricity than an appliance like a blender. I don't understand why he needs to use horses to till, but he can use a chainsaw. What sense does that make? Why can't you use a lawnmower if you can use a chainsaw? Am I dumb for saying that? Don't chainsaws take fuel? Am I? Oh gosh. Hi, Stephen. How are you doing? Hi, Joe. How are you? That was a big jump. They don't believe they have souls, therefore a lot don't treat them right. Can you connect those better? Joel, I'm saying that's what, oh, thank you, Pyramid. I didn't see the 100. Thank you. How are you doing? Oh, you just sent it. Joel, that's what I've been told by some Christian people. You can look that up, Joel. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to say Google it, but you can Google that. Yes, it's like some Christians think that animals don't have the same kinds of souls as us. It's why they think they don't, it doesn't matter how they treat them. Yes, it is true. I think it's really interesting that he would say that Aaron's dogs are dangerous when they're like, okay, if what they said about the cat and everything was true, like, I do understand their concern. And they had even told Aaron before, like, we need to keep the cat put up or your dog's on a leash or something or whatever. Aaron, man, Aaron, you need to keep an eye on your dogs. Like, I don't, like, he's had that one dog, Archie, for a long time. Isn't he like 10 years old or something? Like, don't you want to take care of your dogs and make sure that some vengeful person doesn't use the excuse that, like, it's almost like he's putting it out there, he hurt my animals, so then the next time he gets a chance to, which don't tell me his heart isn't full of vengeance. Yes, it is. Oh my gosh. It's like, um it's crazy how these people that get looked up to the most are often the ones who are the most lost. um an 18-year-old told him not to do it, and he even said sometimes, somebody that's a younger man, and he thinks he's being like, he's really making himself like sound like this good person here. He doesn't realize what a crazy ass he sounds like. You had an 18-year-old boy tell you, no, that's not proper to cut down trees and try to block a public road in retaliation to somebody being here, which Stephanie said, I can't walk down the road. I'm sorry, out in the country where the roads are like 55 miles an hour, moms aren't pushing their babies around it. Okay. The only people you see literally walking around in the country like that, I'm just going to say, are people on DURGSs or people going to get their DURGSs. Okay. It's very, very rare. And like, oh, of course it happens. People have their four-wheeler or something. People go up and down the road, but I'm saying like people don't take walks in these country neighborhoods where people own acres. And often people do need a golf cart or something like that to get around just on their own property. They're not like walking up and down the street where there's no sidewalks. Often there's ditches. Anyways, often people's dogs are like, when my son likes to exercise, I'm always like, oh, we know like all the dogs that are always just loose on the property, and he knows all the dogs that are going to be like, "Hey, and it's just like, you just got to deal with other people's animals and stuff. And like, people are good and respectful about it on my street. We all have dogs. We all keep them in our yard. Most of them know to stay on the yard. You know what I mean? Except for honestly, my boy dog has been on the leash lately because he did run across the street and started barking at my neighbor, and I'm so disappointed in him. I really thought since we got him neutered, he was gonna like straighten up a little bit. I'm almost done. I want to talk to you guys in the chat. He hasn't spent enough time with the Heavenly Father in His Word. If Titus Morris hasn't spent enough time with the Heavenly Father and His Word. What has he been doing? Seriously, what have you been doing with your life, Titus? You haven't had a full time job once, and you talk, I need to ask the Lord for priority. When you live off the land, there's no, what should I do now? There is constant work to do. Go clean out your horses' stalls, Titus. Go, why don't you brush your horses' manes when like they might not dreadlock? Why don't you like get the shining light out of your newborn baby's sensitive eyes and like spend some quality time with it or her? I'm sorry, I just called a baby. I hate it when people do that. Instead of propping her up like a prop in front of a camera and thinking that that's the ideal way to make money. And then supposedly Aaron brought this up recently. He let watermelons rot in his field. So it's like if he really wants to live off the land and make money off of what his land has to offer, he's not doing a good example at that either. It's just it's horrible. And I know a new baby is so much work, and I would never wish anything ill upon anybody with a new baby. But why would you go after somebody with a chainsaw when you've already had the ability to be around 3 other children that you should love, taken away from you because of your actions? And then you're gonna do stuff like that when you have a newborn baby at home, and, once again, no accountability. A real man would take complete accountability. It's like, "You know what? There's no excuse for this. I need help. I need to go somewhere where somebody can teach me how to not lose my shit and react so negatively and like have this knee jerk reaction because I've had my face in the Bible for years and that's not helping me. God clearly isn't steering you on a better path. You just watched your daughter being born and you're still like sliding on ice. I don't know if that was before or after the baby was born, but he has the shorts where he's sliding on ice on a pond, once again, being a horrible example. He's just a horrible example of a human being in so many ways. And less people would care about it if he would stop inviting people. It would stop trying to make money off of the public and inviting innocent people to the public. I'm sorry, to his place, to church that's not done, that like seemingly isn't going to be done. I have no idea what they make on their YouTube channel, but most people make like 8 to I think it was like 15 or $20 per 1,000 views. I have no idea what they make, but no, their views aren't dwindling because of Aaron and his content. And I've said this before, so I don't feel bad saying it again. If anything, I think like Aaron almost sometimes promotes him. For a long time, Aaron was making content that, like, from the outside looking in, I think if somebody watched it, they'd be like, "What is going on?" They didn't really get that. And then lately, Aaron has been putting up more incriminating things again, and like the court video, and um, the way that they talk about that is it is a sealed court case, even though it's closed. Nobody's allowed to like post that. But if you talk about it, people will quickly be like, "I need to see proof," and it's like, well, and I do understand that. I do. I shouldn't make fun of that because I do understand wanting to see proof yourself. I don't know if it's like halfway through towards the end, Ted says, if we can't get along here on earth, how will we get along in heaven? And this is just like really see, I I don't worry about things like this. That's what's so great about heaven. We're not going to have to deal with these stupid things that our stupid personalities bring on here in this physical world. That's how I look at it. When you go back to the source, when you go back to heaven, when you go back to the place we all came from, or we're going to go end up, and I do believe in reincarnation, or at least it's a big possibility, then you are stripped of all of that bullshit. And what is left are the lessons that you learn. We are put here to learn lessons. We're not put here to be the best person possible and to go to heaven and get along with everybody. It's not high school, it's heaven. It's like the source of energy. Energy doesn't die. Our bodies die, our physical bodies die. And to like sit around and like think about these things, it just shows really how stuck on his own self and his personality. And well, I know that sounds so mean, but it's true. He jumped off a building saying he could fly. This could be some kind of brain injury. And it wouldn't matter to me if it wasn't for the fact that it's like, I know I have a chip on my shoulder about it. My whole life, people have talked crap about Kentucky to me, said things about, like, the kissing cousins stereotype, the hillbilly. And there are like, there's good hillbillies and there's bad hillbillies, just like everybody else. There's no such thing as like a state full of just bad people. I was watching this documentary that was about Thomas Massey, and it was like 11, 10 months old. And people are like, talking about how proud they are of him and stuff. It's like, Thomas Massey and people like him make up Kentucky, okay? It's not people like Titus Morris. You guys need to know that. You need to know that. Real principled men who really do stand on their morals, like Thomas Massey, that's what makes this Commonwealth so great. It's not people like Titus Morris who live off of everybody else and and like the nerve of Stephanie. There's people that have to decide whether or not to pay their electric bill or feed their families. And then like the nerve for some people, you haven't seen me ask for money. I don't have the nerve to ask for money. And like this, the nerve. It's $5,000 and there's two people we want to take to court. And it's like because of your association with the Henson Creek guy, he claimed that they offered him $25,000 to off Stephanie's husband. I never said whether or not I believe that. It's just like he tells so many tall tales. I would have a hard time, you know, believing anything he says, but they want to take him and Aaron to court and they didn't mention me, so I thought that was nice. But not if all hillbillies are good, pure joys then. Most of them are pure joy, but I'm thinking about the ones that are like they don't take care of their property. They do let their dogs just have litter after litter and walk around and kill people's chickens. Those are few and far between. Most of them aren't like that. Most of them are resourceful people that take care of people around them and their stuff. And they're the kind of people that'll stop and help you pull you out of the mud, you know. Living around here is like having AAA without having AAA. Both me and my husband have delivered a lot of things. We've gotten stuck in the mud several times. Never longer than a half an hour. My friend told me to hug him, and now I have direct feelings, and it's weird because my relationship is juxtaposed to my love for gaming and life. I got like happy and wanted to hug him back. So yeah, well, that's nice, Levy Bean. Um, Not all intimacy has to be romantic. You know what I mean? If he asked for a hug, he probably needed it too. So, um, he also said that people are scared to go to their to visit them and stuff because they don't want to be in Aaron's spotlight, which I thought was interesting. Aaron doesn't really put many people. I mean, I don't watch all of his content either, but there was somebody he featured recently who was supposedly this man who spent a lot of time at Titus's house faked his own death. And he like the feds are looking for him and they found him and arrested him for faking his own death after scamming the Department of Veterans what is it called? The veteran VA out of thousands of dollars. Like you can't make this stuff up. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know why Stephanie and Titus aren't in talk with copywriters in Hollywood. Y'all could probably be fine. You wouldn't have to do YouTube anymore. Sell the rights to your lives. Tell them what has happened in your freaking lives. This is a mini series. Oh my gosh. Y'all put it out there for everybody, anyways. It's not like you're trying to have any privacy. You put the birth of your daughter on YouTube, the birth of your precious daughter. You couldn't even give her a day. You couldn't even give her one day with just you as her family, just enjoying and celebrating new life. Yeah, I'm sure they probably didn't post it that day, but I'm sorry. They're still like with the camera. You guys, I would show so much more of my life. Filming, having something on a tripod, there's something, it makes you interact with your environment differently. It's like this filter through your own, you don't act the same. For them to just like constantly have the camera up, ready to film, thinking about YouTube for their like 8,000 views. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I don't get views on my edited content either. I'm not like trying to live off YouTube. This stuff, if we can't get along on earth, how will we get along in heaven? Ah, there's so many people that claim to be good pastors, preachers, teachers of the Bible in whatever way that don't live the lives they claim to. People, especially Catholic priests, have been caught in so many scandals. And it's this mentality that some people have, some religious people, not all religious people at all, that just like excuse it because that's what Jesus would want. What? And that's why these men keep getting away with the stuff like this. And from everything we found out lately, I would I don't think I can start a movement and make everybody go along with it. But here in this community, yeah, if somebody has been indecent with children, around children, they're shown the rest of their life. There's no rehabilitating that. And it makes me sick to think that there would be people that would take advantage of good-hearted Christians and people who do believe in what Jesus taught. Um, and they would cling to that. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. It just seems like this is what happens sometimes because they know that people in that environment are going to be like, "Oh, you're forgiven. We all make mistakes." And that's what people are saying on it. We all make mistakes. No, no, no. The mistakes I've made that I carry around with me and will until the day that I die are nothing in comparison to that. But he's still allowed to be the head of a church. He's still allowed to teach people moreover than me because of certain organs he has on his body. To make that make sense to me. This is why women are leaving the church. This is why there's a lower birth rate. More people died than people that were born last year for the first time ever. There's so many things that like let me see. Hello, hope you're doing well. Much respect. You. Oh, thank you, BS. I feel like I look like crap, but I wasn't trying to look good. But I was outside weeding. Now I'm gonna try to make it romantic like Will and Mile and Stranger Things. I don't know what you're talking about. I want to say to him, "Yo, homie, you want to be my romantical influencer, Leafy Bean?" I don't know what you're talking about. Little boys and preachers. Yes, Gary. It is very sad. Gail, Lady, are you on fire today about Titus? Great job. Thank you. This helps bring awareness to the Titus issues. Oh, thank you, Gail. It's nice seeing you, Gail. It just, oh my gosh. Okay, so he had a little boy standing on a ladder with a knife, like cutting twine off this tree. If you so many, what has to happen? And is it going to be caught on camera for people to really realize, okay, this is wrong? And when I talk about it, I don't ever want to people to think that like I think that all Christians, all people that like, because I find myself listening to sermons a lot on Sunday when I'm in the car. I'll find sermons on the radio. I understand the appeal of listening to somebody talk about the Bible. I think that everybody could benefit from it. I think that people could probably benefit from somebody talking about the Bhagavad Gita or like one of the many Buddhist texts they consider, holy or sacred to them or whatever. And same with the Torah. Like it's just like these things, they give us a good foundation. I do believe Candace Owens, like a year ago, made a great speech about how what is the biggest downfall to our society right now is less people believing in God. And and it's a shame. I think one reason is because of religion, religious leaders leading people astray, religious leaders disappointing people to the point where it's like they they can't deal with the cognitive dissonance. Um, Marty, I'm glad you like KFC, Marty. I know, Snow Bear, women can't be pastors. I know. And that's one reason why I think that that religion is crazy because men, okay, so we're illogical, irrational, but the men that think with the organ that gets hard in their pants, that's not illogical and irrational. I'm sorry, but if you're a man and you are led by lust, you are the most illogical and irrational creature on the planet. You cause the most destruction for what? For what? Really? Seriously, a few minutes, a few seconds, really, of pleasure? Really? Really? Like, that is so pathetic. Most of us, that's what, when we're middle aged, by the time we're older, we're here to lead the younger people while they're going through their raging hormonal phase and like tell them, look, this is what you need to do now, or this is how you need to carry yourself now in order for you to not regret yourself later or have horrible physical repercussions from it later, have to get a hysterectomy from it later or something. Like people don't talk like that. It was always just like whatever, as long as you're safe. Having being very promiscuous isn't safe. But anyways, not to shame anybody if you are unaware. I trust me, I'm not any better than you. Trust me. But this is the kind of people that are like Titus Morris trying to teach other people what is right from wrong and how to stay on a path with God. But then when it comes to actions being louder than words, you can sit there with your cult voice and talk all quietly and calmly. And I'll even read as I'm reading like Titus Morris. Blizzard coming to Massachusetts. So depressing. Like I'm so sorry, Stone Papa. That really sucks. Oh, hey, Fendi, how are you? So I just saw that this guy that I talk about a lot, that's like the faux Amish preacher guy, he went after somebody with a chainsaw 2 days ago. A literal a chainsaw that was turned on, like like Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit. And then he gets on YouTube. He's like, I owe the public an apology because this isn't the way that a Christian's supposed to like be an example for other Christians. And it's just crazy. They have a little baby at home. And I guess He doesn't believe in using a lawnmower. I don't think he believes in GUNs, but you'll run after somebody with a chainsaw. This man, it's a miracle he hasn't hurt himself worse than falling off a building thinking he could fly, which is a real story. Gun one, you're led by the feelings in your head. Okay, gun one, you can think that the soul does not exist. God is fake, Jam said. So you don't believe in a higher power at all, Jams? Do you think that this was just because of a big bang, some rocks banged together, and then all this happened, all this sacred geometry and everything? Sincere question. Thank you, Cyrus. Jesus Christ sacrificed himself on the cross for your sins, and if you follow his commandments, you will receive everlasting life. So it's the people like Titus Morris that like seem to really need to be told every day of their life, even into their 30s, that the Ten Commandments are the thing you have to follow. Like, it, that's why I believe religion was really created. It was to control people, and that's not the purpose of it. The purpose was to have a relationship with God and to Jams. Yep, it's all fake. Well, you can believe that, Jams. I don't believe that there's no God. I don't believe that it's some man in the sky. I think that it's beyond our human comprehension, whatever God is. But I had a trip one time. I definitely believe there's a multiple dimensions at least, and I think that there is a higher power that caught. Yeah, I wrote you back, Fendi, today. Seeing and speaking in spirit, the guardian evangelist said. So let me look down really quick and make sure. Yeah, people on his page are like, I read at least 10 comments talking about how it's okay to kill a dog, which like I said, like, yeah, out in the countryside, a dog threatening your livestock, and that is the mentality. If they're on your property, you can neutralize the threat. That's not unheard of, right? Usually, if you know whose dog it is, you wouldn't do that, at least without giving them warning. But it was really interesting to me. There's one comment that was like, "Shame on you for like bringing up killing one of God's creatures." It was just interesting to me. It's like the vitriol, the hate. I think the people, and I'm not talking about Amish people when I say this. I think the people that try to act like they have God the most in their life, like that are in this world, that are of this world, like us, like Titus, the people that try to act like the closest and the godliest, they often are the farthest away from it. Isn't that funny? Isn't that like crazy? It's like that's what I want to teach my kids. And once again, I'm not talking about completely kind of isolated little communities of Amish people. They literally have like a parallel society of ours. And I think we need to create our own parallel societies and start separating ourselves from the predator class. That's what I'm calling the elites, the top 1% of people now, the predators that are just like siphoning so much off of us that like our grandchildren aren't going to be able to be homeowners anywhere. Um, your past will get brought up, especially when you keep inviting people to your church, is one thing that I really, not that I think that they care anything about what I say, because I know since I'm so far from being Christian, I'm like a devil demon spirit that doesn't exist to these people, which is kind of funny. Um, And I know this sounds super judgmental, but I'm just gonna say it. I'm the only one that's like got an intact family that's still with the man I had all my kids with. And that's like, I guess Titus's parents have had all their children and that doesn't mean successful. Like there's people that I consider to have successful marriages that got divorced. Just because you stay together your whole lives doesn't mean you're happy. And that's a success because you're just miserable together for decades upon decades. So we want to talk about like dangerous dogs. How dangerous is a man who's such a loose cannon that even after not working a full-time job, I'm sorry, most of us have the stressors of like bills, a car, bills and working to pay those bills. And like you think that's why I think why so many people are attracted to this and they don't realize like it is constant work. I would say it's even more work, but I would rather work on my land personally. So I get that. I'd rather work my butt off and like be at home with my husband and my kids all the time and not be able to vacation. We can't vacation anyways. You can't save up or go out for a vacation nowadays. You can't afford anything anyway. So you might as well have some chickens, like keep some livestock going and uh revolve your life around being self-sustainable. And so people are attracted to that for good reason, but they don't realize it is like constant work. I think that he's a little lazy. Oh, Jay Hardy, how are you? So this guy that I talk about, the fake pastor guy, he just went after a YouTuber with a chainsaw. And I have talked about how Aaron, the YouTuber, if I was him, I wouldn't be walking up and down their street. I haven't done that. I wouldn't do that, but Aaron's allowed to. It's a public street, you know? Titus said he was going to cut down trees and then block him in because his dogs were threatening him. Blue boy bubbling, blubbering. If you have actually have something to say, it's like the people that you're seriously like a catty woman. You seem a little off. I don't like you. One eye's smaller than the other. You talk too much. I don't like your voice. You sound nasally. You sound like you have low testosterone. You need to go to the doctor and get your testosterone levels checked because men that don't have low testosterone don't go on people's lives and like make fun of them for no reason. Um, Bobby, what's your opinions on LGBTQ? I don't think that I think that people were born the way that they are most of the time. That's and everybody should be accepted. Gail, excellent point, Lady. The chainsaw Titus is running at Aaron, which is far more dangerous than any dog. I agree. Thank you for getting me back on track, Gail. Who's the danger to the public? Aaron's dogs, who we've seen plenty of times. Like they don't seem like dangerous dogs. In my opinion, that an aggressive dog is a kind of dog that like doesn't give a warning. They don't bark, they don't growl, they just like attack. That's what true aggression is. I learned this because a dog bit one of my sons in the face one time, a Saint Bernard. I had to learn a lot then. And anyways, I'm no expert though, but Aaron has had his dogs out a lot. They don't seem like aggressive dogs. I have mastiffs, so it's kind of funny for me. It's funny for anybody to be talking about these dogs. I get it. Like dog, any animal with a mouth could hurt another animal. But what his biggest dog is like 40 pounds. So it's like, what is the most dangerous thing to the public at this point? A man like Titus Morris, who thinks that he literally owns, he can, like, I have not been to this road, but I've told you guys this many times. I don't think this is how Handsome Creek is. But a lot of roads around here are dead ends, or there are dead ends that come off of that road. It's just the nature of a mountainous area. There's a lot of ridges. You've got the main roads along the ridges and tons of little roads going off the ridges. And those will go into the valleys, or what some people call hollers. And like, so with his situation, who knows how many people he might be trapping in? That's like literally their only way to go somewhere. Now they have to go way around. It's just so incredibly selfish. You're not thinking about your neighbors at all. You're just thinking like one track mind, what you want to accomplish. And you're going to like even, I'm sorry, to you to even think that this was a plan of action to even think about to cut down trees and block the road both ways, like you're king of the county. This is that's what I was talking about. Bad hillbillies. Okay. That's what I'm saying. People think that there's all this mentality of like, you ain't from around here. My family's been here for 200 years. There are a lot of people like that that do like give Kentucky a bad rap, or just the South in general, that they think that like they don't want anybody from the outside coming in. And like you have to understand in these really rural communities, it's just like just like I was saying, we're like tribalistic people. We have stuff ingrained in us. They almost can't help it. They didn't have any transportation running through a lot of these communities. They were so severely isolated. And it probably was an act of safety, just being like, you're not from around here, you know? Like, I just had a lady doing an Instacart delivery the other day. She's like, you're from the city, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, I'm from Louisville. And we just laughed. And like, I didn't. She was nice to me besides that, you know, and she gave me an extra 20. Like obviously she wasn't being a real big stick in the mud, but like there's a difference between people being like, yeah, I'm proud of being here, and then them acting like a aggressive dog and just jumping down your throat, acting like you're literally not allowed to exist. Um, but it's kind of scary. Do you garden and can as well as raise animals? The Guardian. I'm sorry, I've seen you comment quite a bit. Yes, born and raised on a ranch. Oh, Guardian, that's so nice. Oh, I have a big garden. Well, this year I'm going to have a big garden. I had a hysterectomy last year, so I didn't garden a lot, but I usually do. And we have chickens. I don't have any other animals. We only have 1 acre. No, I'm not drunk, Coop. I'm not drunk. I've only got drunk on my channel once. And I wouldn't even call that. I mean, that was just drinking beer. I don't know if I'd call that drunk. So Titus said in this video, I was trying to organize the disorganization in this house. I might be over analyzing this. I tend to do that sometimes. I'll admit it, but this is just purely speculation for entertainment purposes only. I thought that was a really interesting sentiment, and I think that It's always hard to have a new baby. It's the most difficult time. Children, one family friend said it well, like, children make you feel everything. Like, you literally feel everything as a parent. Like, every emotion you could possibly feel. And, like, for somebody that's never really experienced that before, that is a lot. And, everybody's on their own timeline. My thought is the older that you get, you're somebody like Titus that's so used to having his way or the highway, basically, you know? And then you have a whole brand new life to take care of and help somebody else take care of. Like that, I have empathy for that. I don't know why, but I can just imagine that you can tell he's exhausted by looking at his face, and it's exhausting. And that's why I almost looked at it as a blessing to be a younger mother. I just couldn't imagine living my whole adult life to 30, 35, 40, and then becoming a mother. Personally, me and my personality, I don't think that would have been a good idea, but I don't think that's the truth for everybody at all. It's like this line in a No Doubt song, Bathwater. She says, "The longer that I wait, the more selfish I become." And that's not true for everybody. I'm in Louisville too, small world. Oh, Riesinger, that's so cool. No. What is Bourbon and Beyond? Is that like a festival, NC? That sounds like some kind of bourbon country in Kentucky is beautiful. It's like Bardstown. I don't know exactly where it stops. It stops before Lebanon, but there's like a little area from you leave Louisville not too far after, and you're like in what they call the knobs, which are like the biggest hills outside of Appalachia that go from like, southern Indiana, Louisville area across to central Kentucky. And it is so beautiful. A few streams ago, she was trying on different foxtails and ears. Fiddle a fox said. Jennifer's, I agree. People are usually more fertile when young because they have more energy and ability to handle the stress. Yeah, Jennifer's. I had a baby at 19, 22, and 30. So I can technically say I had a baby as a teen in my 20s and my 30s, even though I know 30, I was barely 30. Um, and honestly, the last pregnancy was one of the easier ones for me in certain ways, but in other ways it was harder. So it's like, yes, in Louisville at the fairgrounds this September, great lineup this year. Oh, and see, that's cool. At the state fairgrounds in Louisville, we have the largest air-conditioned fair, I believe, in the country, or was it just the state of Kentucky? But they have, like, a great just the thing with that is, like, it's almost too big for me. Like, I like to get out, but, like, tons of big crowds and people is like, ugh. That's the kind of thing I'd like to go, like, on a weekday when there's not a lot of as many people. But I do love Louisville. It's such a great city, and Kentucky has so many great, like, activities. Was the festival a woolly worm? I saw this thing. Yes, Stone Papa. We got pregnant with him in a month. He was like, the second and third kids were planned. Um, Woolly Worm Festival. Where was it? I'll be able to look it up and see. That's like not until the fall, but I thought that was so cute. And then there's an Apple Festival in Liberty. But anyways, I think a lot of counties, that's like the thing the county's built around is like their one annual little festival, and it's sweet. I love these towns. Although I did see this pretty big video. Was it Beattyville, Kentucky? I don't know how to say that. And they said the most racist white town in America. And it was pretty funny. This guy was talking to this guy flying like five Confederate flags. And he's like, "So why do you like that?" And he's like, "The history." And he's like, "Can you tell me about it?" And he's like, uh I have visited many years ago. People were so kind and nice. Pyramid said to Louisville. Oh, Rahman. Not so I couldn't imagine my autistic child teach them not to be like, "You're fat," or "Why are you fat?" And it's like people that expect people to be really upstanding citizens that know how to interact with the general public straight out of public school and make fun of homeschooled kids. Like, have you interacted with the general public? Because a lot of them seem like kids that didn't ever have enough one-on-one time. And it shows. How long did you date your husband before first child? Oh, Stone Papa, just a few months. We got pregnant and a few months in, and then we broke up before I knew I was pregnant. So then we are broken up like my whole pregnancy until after the baby was born. And that's why we didn't get married till like 3 years after that, because everybody was telling, not everybody, some influences told, "You don't have to marry her just because you have a baby with her. Have another baby with her. You don't have to marry her, and just keep having babies." That's not like a that's not that's an even bigger bond for the rest of your life or anything. But anyways, that's a whole other topic, and I don't think just because people have babies, they should get married. I just think that it's really interesting what's going on with marriage right now and how people are, um, saying that they wanna get married, young men in their 20s saying they wanna get married when it's like, "Whoa," there for a few generations, it was always, like, laid out, like, you had to trick him into marrying you, or, like, it had to be a shotgun wedding or something, and, like, now that the way people are talking about it, like, opining for it, I think that's really interesting, and, it's just this guy that I brought up a lot that talks about parallel societies, and he has, like, this app where he's trying to get people to network together about this, and, um, there almost okay, a lot of his videos, people bring up feminism. It's like we can't even talk about parallel societies without somebody bringing up, well, would you let a female lead a community? And it's like, why is that even a question? Why do you think, if you think feminism is why we're here, unsubscribe from my channel. Seriously, if you think this ends late stage capitalism and clearly end of a cycle, crazy people making hundreds of thousands of dollars off the internet, like wearing a mask, a persona as a cosplaying Amish person, and then like blowing through it and having nothing to show but a shell of a building. It's just like it's unreal that there's people that seriously, if you don't see that it's the greed of a few rich people, that like 1% of people have 80% of the wealth or something, and you're blaming it on me being able to have a bank account, because that's seriously what I don't think that we're here because women can have bank accounts. When was your stress? What was your stress level when you found out you were pregnant for the first time? Oh, Stone Papa. Beatty Beattyville, Bruce said. I should know how to say that, especially after watching the video. I was very happy, Stone Papa, with all three of my pregnancies. Everybody around me, Gloria Steinem, commented on how I was like the best version of myself. I was very calm and happy, and like even though I was not wanting to be pregnant, I was happy. And my sister always tells the story of me like finding out, looking at the test, and her being, like, scared for me, and then me looking at her and smiling real big, and, like, I don't know, I just knew that it was gonna work out. But I don't recommend, unplanned pregnancies, but it is how, like, half of us, what, 40 to 50% of births are unplanned, so the world wouldn't be what it is if people didn't do it that way sometimes. But, yeah, we're extremely happy pregnant, and even though we weren't together, we got along most of my pregnancy, we were, like, talking and stuff. So I wasn't that freaked out. It would've been nice if the nurses at the hospital didn't ask me where my husband was every 5 minutes, like, I was the only 19-year-old girl to ever give birth without a man there, I know I wasn't. But anyways, that's, like, small town Indiana for you. It's easy more than 40 or 50%, more like 90% superior. I think it might be 60 actually. I just remember it was slightly more than half, I think, actually. But anyways, and then when you are pregnant in that situation and you don't have a ring on your finger, you notice like all the ads, all the baby registry advertisement, you'll get like the catalog for baby things and stuff. Or this is how it used to be. Now everything's digital. But everybody has a honking ring on their finger, and they're like, gosh, like the the things we're fed our whole lives. And they put that stuff in our heads to concentrate on and to compare ourselves to. I was listening to somebody that I'd like talk about leave or take, Shallon Lester. I really like her content sometimes, but sometimes it's like, I mean, it's kind of like 50-50. She either gives like great advice that's so insightful. Oh, hey, DMed, how are you? Or it's like, I can't believe she is saying this. And she had an episode where she was talking about how she found herself being ate up with jealousy after going on like these red carpet events because she's a journalist. And so she'd be interviewing, like, she was talking about like A-list celebrities, and she'd go home and hate herself. She'd hate her life and want to off herself because she was so, like, so ate up with jealousy and stuff. And then so I thought she was going to tell a story about how she came around and she realized, like, and she's like, so then I realized what I was really jealous of was their busy schedules, and so now I'm really busy. And now and then she tells a story of encountering a woman who was a model and being like, "Well, I'm better than you because I have a degree and I write books and I da da da." And I was just like, "Oh my!" But it's not stopping. It's like she's going into her 40s. It just shows how some women, it's like constant competition, and just like, I'm not just saying this, but I swear there's less of that in Kentucky. I'm not just saying. I swear the women here tend to be built differently, and I know there's people like that in every state, but it's like, it's just like, there's something like some women have this shield up, like you feel it when you meet them, where it's just like, why do you think everything that must be exhausting to think that everything's like a fucking competition, like we're like wild birds in the jungle or something, and I'm a threat to you and your mate, and it's like, we're all human beings. We don't have to dig, into each other and tear each other apart just to make us feel better about ourselves. And it was basically, man, that episode she's just talking about. It's like, wow. So this is how other women are. You can't just be happy for other women. You can't just, you really feel connected to everybody, and like we are one. It's not about she has that. It's like, wow, that's so neat that she gets to experience that. That's so cool. Good for her. I wouldn't want to be a jet setting model that dyed her white hair and fixed her wonky eye. Like, I sincerely am like so introverted. I'd rather be secluded. No, I don't want goldfish. I would love to build a pond though. Ever since I saw Makara's video where she was talking about how her fiance made this pond in his backyard, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. But that would be so much money. You know what I mean? Like, we have other more pressing things, like a new porch. The unintended pregnancy rate was 35.7 per 1,000 women ages 15 to 44 in 2019, down 15% from 42.1 per 1,000 in 2010. Yeah, thank you, Superior Dave Asprop. I I hate to say it, but I almost feel like, and I've heard this lately, women are struggling to get pregnant. It's not people making better choices as much as it's like environmental. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I could be wrong about that. If men really took responsibility, my word, the insecurities would go, Stephen said. Yeah, but you're talking about taking responsibility for what men and women sleep their way to the top in Hollywood. Oh, yes. Everything that's coming out. Hello from Scotland, Stephen said. How are you, Stephen? It's I think that it's like opening a lot of people's eyes. And then there's people were talking about Prince Andrew, or he's not Prince anymore, whatever. Andrew, he got arrested, but it's like he wasn't arrested for the sex crimes. Oh, hi James, how are you? He's arrested for like just doing things they didn't like while he was in office, right? Whatever it was, giving information through emails, what have you. It's still not even like really admitting. I think it's like their roundabout way of being like, we don't care about the women and children. We do want him to be a good boy and like make us look as good as possible, but they don't care about women and children. Did you guys see the stuff with Fergie? You don't know who she is? Was she a duchess? Or she's not anymore. She was related through marriage. I don't even know for sure. But the story with her is like, in the emails, like one email, she told Epstein that her 19-year-old daughter was off for a shagging weekend. If you don't know what that is, that's slang for like being intimate. And why would you tell a grown man your daughter is off doing that? It's like so weird. So we've all been in that situation where we're like at work and somebody tells a dirty joke and it's like a bonding moment. I know that sounds kind of fucked up, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Where it's like you break the ice with something that's like, oh yeah, that was funny. As long as it's at nobody's expense, like you can be adult about it. And it's like, I think that these evil predatory class people, they don't bond the same way over silly, dirty jokes and silly little stories. They bond over being like, um, I went to so and so's house last weekend and we all did this. And they're like, oh, yeah, you want to know what I did? Is so just like they can't show off through the same, they all go to the same vacation spots. They all shop from the same fancy places. They all have the same fancy cars. How are they going to like, Louisville is killing Georgia Tech right now in basketball? Oh, that's cool, Stone Papa. Thanks for letting me know. Um, I'm glad you're doing good, Steven. She was married to Andrew. Oh, she was married to Andrew. Oh, Alfie. Thank you for saying that. You got arrested. I was arrested once, Alfie. I don't think I mentioned that though. But another thing, there's so much to talk about. It is crazy that they're just like releasing people in the middle of the night from detention centers. And that's been a thing. When they released me from jail, it wasn't the middle of the night, but they literally waited till the bus that would have taken me back to the side of town I was from, which was seriously like 30 miles away. It was the opposite end of the county. They waited until that bus pulled away to let me go. And then, with the bus pass, mind you, with no bus coming for like 12 more hours, no cover, complete sun. This is South Florida, and I was like a block away from the police station, and a cop car stopped like several feet in front of me. It was weird. He didn't get anywhere near me. He was like way far in front of me, stopped, and it was like talk about God speaking. Like it wasn't even a question. It was no thought process. I just stood frozen. I knew, do not get in that cop car. Do not get in that cop car. Whatever you do, don't get in that cop car. That was a fucking racket. They wait until the girl, and this was 10 years ago, before, before my eye was wonky, before I had gray hair. I was a few sizes smaller back then. And I've heard similar stories in other places, not like just the same town, but like these policemen know they're releasing people like from jail with like no shoes, no wallet, no phone, nowhere to go. And they might be able to help her out, in my opinion. And, that's something that, oh, it just makes me sick the way people are treated, and I wasn't charged with anything. The king has flung his brother under the bus, not my king, Stephen said. So she was married to, I should have known that, Alfie. Thank you for saying that. I don't pay that much attention. I don't I don't like the royal family. Okay. I don't like treating people, that sounds really mean and judgmental. I don't like treating people like they're, yeah, special because they're a part of some bloodline, and then, people say they don't have any power. It's just like the billionaires here. They own so much land. They own so much. They do have a lot of power. Now, they might not be as overt with it as like some of the billionaires. Tommy Hilfiger is having a huge sale. Share Bear, that's nice. Um, I was arrested in Scotland for praying and worshiping at 4 a.m. Were you really, Stephen? That's sad. Did God save you? Shet said. Good, did God save you? Shet said. Hello, please give your doggy a treat for me. Oh, boxing. Neither of them are in here, but I will. I was just feeding Layla mandarin slices. Silly girl. She's like acted like she never ate them before. But anyways, Escobar owns more. So I got on here because I missed you guys. I just wanted to go live, and I do want to go live tonight. I'm making a members only video for Monday on structured water. It's really interesting stuff. I had heard about it, like there's structured water in watermelons. I didn't know that structured water also included what a lot of these people are talking about. Emoto, that doctor, the Japanese scientist, I'm sorry, I don't know what his title is, who did the intentional thinking with water. And then, like, when you focus on love, it's like a beautiful snowflake in the water, and then when you focus on hate, it looks like shards of glass broken or something like that. Most of you guys have seen this, I know, but of course, there's people that are like, "That's unfounded." Um, and did you guys see the breast milk under a microscope? Oh my gosh, it was amazing, and I couldn't breastfeed one of my babies, so don't feel bad if you couldn't breastfeed, it doesn't work out with everybody. But that doesn't mean that, like, our bodies are absolutely amazing, and, like, so anyways, structured water is a really neat concept. I had no idea some people even say just like swirling the water around makes it structured. Um, I feel good, Corey. Yeah. Oh God, Corey. Hyde made a new species of hippos, like a pharaoh. What are you talking about, Sir Tathos? Fairies married a prince and ended up fairies divorced because she was messing it with the first divorce in the royal family. Oh, thank you for saying that, Stephen. Yes, that was a big deal. Hi, TY. So another thing, I forgot about this, but I swear I remember when it happened, once somebody brought it up again, when she was divorced, newly divorced, she was with a man in France, and one of her daughters was like, I don't know, big enough to not be nude completely, and I know they do things differently over in Europe, but this wasn't like a 2 or 3-year-old running around naked on the beach or at the pool or something. I was under the impression there was like, I don't know, like 8, 9, 10-year-old girl that was like nude on this guy's lap. And like, that is and then so for her to, oh my gosh, it's so unreal. It's demonic. It's demonic. That's like, I never thought I'd be heading into my 40s, looking at the world and seeing it and be like, that's how I feel about Titus Morris and people. I'm sorry. I'm like, I could be wrong. I'm not God. I feel this strongly. If you could harm innocent, vulnerable beings, if you could be indecent and take their innocence away in any way, shape, or form, we're not going to draw the line somewhere. Just like, no, if it's you're nude in front of children and you're literally causing harm to yourself, to your genitals in front of a child. How does it get any more demonic than that? How is that not evil? When you think about people that literally, like what is coming out now, there are horrible pictures. I can't even look at you guys saying there's descriptions of pictures. That's like, how could anybody see these pictures and not want to go after every man in the picture? How could you see these pictures and say there's nothing to investigate? How could you hear that a man was indecent with a child in any way, shape, or form and look up to him to be your messenger for the word of God to teach you how to be more godly? And then if you do that, you're still going to be like, oh, yeah, we all make mistakes. When he goes after somebody with a chainsaw, it was so egregious. He had to say himself. And Stephanie could like barely look at the camera. I don't even know what the point of being on camera is if you're going to be like this the whole time. Also, you can make sure and tell them that you need $5,000 a pop. If anybody feels vengeful enough, if anybody follows them and also wants to help them seek vengeance in court, it's like insane. This is insane. Um, Aaron, I don't know why he's like there or what his intentions are. Like, I do understand both sides of the story. I understand it being if Aaron found out where I lived and he was walking up and down my street, I'd be a little annoyed too. That's why people reside out in the countryside, so they don't have to deal with people like that. People don't go walking up and down the street. No, Stephanie, no, people don't take their babies out for walks in the 55 miles an hour country. Literally never seen that happen in years, 4 plus years of living as remotely as they do. Was like kind of disappointed my kid wanted to come inside because I was weeding up a storm and I have tulips and hyacinths and daffodils popping up, you guys. I do have these little greenhouse things. They remind me of the glass thing that the Beauty and the Beast rose was in. It's like these little plastic greenhouses. And I'm like, I need to get stakes and I'm going to put those over them. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe just the leaf mulch will be enough. Andrew got arrested for the Epstein stuff. Steven, I wish he got arrested for like being indecent. Okay, for giving information that he shouldn't have given. He didn't really get arrested for the sex crime stuff, unfortunately. Children are not protected as much as adults, and they're the most vulnerable. Very sad, right, Sandano? Right, you said that very well. They're not protected as much as adults. And I've noticed this people will unalive a newborn child, and it's like they get like a year or two. Why wouldn't you get multiple life sentences? You ended that life so early. Isn't that worse than killing someone? You know what I mean? It's all bad, but you know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. Hi, Zax. How are you? Oh, Kevin, thank you. Love you too. TWC is back. Trade advisor for UK. Are you talking about Andrew? I'm 52 and it's like mental going on in 70s. What a generation, Steven said. No, Poofy. You see how people are like asking me to turn around, lift my shirt and stuff like that. It's so interesting how you men are. You will not be your full realized self as a man and woman, but I'm specifically speaking towards men until you can like look at a woman and not think thoughts like that. Or you can like that conquering mentality of like, I could go get this online in like infinite number of places. If you really want to see a woman do things like that, you're on the internet, like have at it. But instead of that, you're going to try to find a woman that's just trying to have a polite conversation. And you're like, oh, 360, make it clap. Like stuff like that. That's like, You can go find other women to do that, and if your mind wasn't in the gutter, and, like, I know you think it's funny and everything, but it's really not. Like, we're all going to hell in a handbasket because so many of you guys are like that. What do we want? A girl worth fighting for, Darley said. Sandana, children all over the world, some are in concentration camps, some are doing child labor. Yes, it's so horrible to think about. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about the ranch, which it was like said by several different people who was impregnating up to 20 girls at a time. And they were living at that ranch. That is insanity to think about. Do you guys remember the story I covered in Arcadia, California, where that um not the stereotype, just to give more details to the story, the Asian couple had like tons of surrogate children. Do you guys remember that? They're still, like, doing their thing, I think. Uh, don't tell me these people aren't I really hate to say it. I don't wanna, like, even talk about organ harvesting or donation right now, honestly. But, it's like a sad world we live in, and rather than being paralyzed by everything going on, like, I choose to live in honor of all those poor souls that aren't with us anymore, the ones that aren't being treated right now, like, instead of just being, like, frozen by it and, like, feeling helpless and hopeless over it, I'm going to do whatever I can with my life in honor of the people that didn't get to live as long as me, or the kids that don't get to have, it's really messed up. What do you guys think about Michael Jackson? Because I've been thinking about him a lot lately because I've gone through it. Like, I believed he was a pervert. I didn't. I don't know what to think. And it's such a shame. I grew up in the 90s and I mean, late 80s. And a part of me thinks I don't know for sure. I'll never know for sure, but he was just somebody that really did sincerely want to give kids a good childhood. I know this sounds so messed up. This is my thought process though. Like Epstein didn't have a fun place with rides, like trying to make it more fun and entertaining for kids. You know, people that want to harm kids, they just like they don't go. I know they do groom them and do certain things, but like, I just had that thought that I was like, was he like a sincere person that really was trying to recreate his own childhood? I get Andrew is wrong with the brother flinging his brother to the wolves. He could have at least stood with him. The country would have probably loved him for the act of humility. Stephen, I understand where you're coming from, and I didn't even think about that honestly, Stephen. I think that people are just so taken aback and they are trying to save face. And don't tell me, in my opinion, King Charles isn't done just as bad, if not worse. I mean, he committed adultery, right? It was like a known thing that he was cheating on Diana with Camilla. So, and you know what? I have mixed feelings about that too. Bill Clinton was a good president in lots of ways. I know he was in a lot of other ways, but John F. Kennedy, he tried to bring our attention to the global government that rules all of our countries. That is bad. And and these men were dogs when it came to their moral compass and the way they treated their wives and handled themselves. But at the same time, like, I do think we should separate, you have to, you have to, so many people and women do the same thing. It's not just men. It seems like when a woman rises to power, you just hear story after story of her cheating on her husband too, right? Like Christy Nolan, right? Like they're all cheaters. It's like they I don't know. It's it's a lot. The system is created by PDF files. That's why many are not in jail. Yes, and Gail, great live today, lady. I love the topics. Thank you, Gail. I'm so glad you're still here. And 80s kids we were just getting our rebellion on at 52 and traumatized. Steven said, yeah, and I think that like, what is a good king? You know what I mean? I just don't think there is such thing. I think it's interesting that like oh gosh, you guys, what Trump is doing with the Supreme Court tariffs? Like, what world do we live in? This is if you aren't convinced that the left and the right work together and they're both two sides of the same coin, it's right in your face. How is he not being like impeached? Like really sincerely impeached, like kicked out. Like, what is the amendment where he's like basically like 5150 from his position? You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, this person is crazy. Why isn't it more being done? This is a dictatorship. This is Fascism. I never thought I would say that. I thought people were silly when they called Trump a fascist a few years ago. So I understand if you think I'm silly now. One day you'll probably get it though. I mean, what he is going against Supreme Court orders. This is the system of checks and balances that is what's supposed to make America America. So we don't have one man ruling all over everything, doing whatever he wants, just without anybody else giving him permission. Like what? This is authoritarian dictatorship. All these presidents are just the face of the corrupt system, Sin said. Yes, I think the queen hung on for as long as she could to keep him from the throne, Stephen said. Um, Stephen, you seem really sweet, but I think she was probably just consuming lots of adrenochrome. JD, the Supreme Court told him no tariffs, and then he went and added 10% on. I wanted Trump to win all 3 times. You can just, like, automatically assume things about people that don't think exactly like you about Trump. But, anyone who says it's fascism doesn't understand what fascism is. Yeah, JR, fascism is an authoritarian overreach under the guise of some kind of, like, national pride. Last time I said this, somebody was like, "You literally just said the dictionary definition of fascism." What the fuck am I supposed to say? What the fuck is this if it isn't fascism? It's not fucking, it's not a representative republic or democratic, yeah, representative republic, right? That's what we are technically. Trump's going to give me the boots and a badge. I'm going to ask you for papers. No, no, that was almost a funny troll, but it's not funny because did you guys even? I didn't talk about the woman, Linda, I forget her last name, a woman who was killed February 16th because ICE agents who aren't allowed to pull people over were running after some guy and then he ran into her in Georgia and killed her. A woman who teaches special needs kids. We need people like her so bad. And because of ICE and their aggressive tactics, and because they hire people that literally probably wouldn't qualify to be an actual cop, and they get all excited about the things they get to do. JD, I have no idea how many different types of tariffs there are. What difference does that make to the Supreme Court saying you can't do what you just tried to do and then him adding on 10% across the board? Look into who prints Western World School books. Scene of the Crash. Are you talking about the McGraw Hill? I don't know what you're talking about, Scene of the Crash, but I'm sure it's all manipulated. So I'm doing an edited video right now about 6 African American women. You guys probably haven't heard of most of these women. The woman who laid the foundation for the HVA systems we have right now, a black woman. The woman who cured leprosy before antibiotics came out and saved like thousands of people from being confined to this island in Hawaii, a black woman. And of course, a man came along and slapped his name on it for 40 years and tried to say it was him that came up with the method. But then it came out that it was actually her. Alice Ball was her name. And then it's like this woman that laid the groundwork for GPS, literally mapped our whole globe, like the geodesic, like she came up with this. And she just died last month. It was so sad. She was 95 years old. And then the 3 women who are known as the human computers that helped us in so many space missions, but to get to the moon and other missions in space. And it's just really interesting the way we were taught. It's just like white men, white men, white men, white men did everything. That's why y'all are still walking around thinking that like this whole world is what it is because of white men. When yeah, it is. All the microplastics in our brain and our blood and our soil in our water, that's from white men mostly. And I did say this, like white men are responsible for the most pollution. And then I thought about it, I'm like, well, let's be real. I mean, the Asians are responsible for a lot of pollution too. They are. China and their coal burning power plants, that's not lost upon me. Okay. So like when I said that, I was kind of like, but when it comes to these people who are look at, for every opportunity to make more of a profit margin, even if it is at the expense of their customers and making more unsafe products, like I do see the world mostly ran by consumerism, mostly ran by white men. I just do. Like, don't get me wrong, I know that they have some horrible practices, in India and China, it's really sad that some of these there's, like, this place where they recycle computers and the river and the water is, like, drained or dyed red from some kind of war it's, like, very toxic, and a lot of people aren't doing well because of it, and you see these little children, like, wading through this junk in this water because, like, everybody there is so poor, they have to do these things. Oh, it's so sad to think about. So, I still look at that as white man's fault. I'm sorry. It's because of the white rich man siphoning, going to other countries and taking their resources from them and like taking Nestle. Nestle takes groundwater from poor villages in Africa. And it's like stuff like that that this whole system that is not going to thrive. Nobody can thrive in it but the richest people. Anyone who says it's fascism, I already read that. Let's do this. I'm going to put on these boots and stuff on your rights for Trump. No, you're kind of funny. Trump's going to give me the boots and a badge. I already read that one. Please, not the Queen. She loves Scotland. Stephen, are you in Scotland? Yes, you can. What does every president prior, including Biden, get to? Did you even read the decision? It says he can't do it. How did he do it? LMAO. JD, he had the Supreme Court tell him this is how the system of checks and balances works. And that's why I said this is obvious proof that both sides are working together. Because if they really wanted to, they could put their fucking feet down and do a little bit more. When do you Instacart do you, when yes, Stone Papa, especially if it's a large order, I put my earbud in. All these traits you have stated men have had all these traits also. Advanced tripod. What do you mean by that? I was talking about men, right? It's not all white men. It is the rich white men at the top. That's what I'm saying. It's just funny to me when people get like racist with it or starts talking about how inferior certain races are, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm sorry. Who's the biggest dummy in the world? The person living off the land, the people who still live in harmony with nature and the ecosystems around them and don't constantly destroy, 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 or the people who just like bulldoze through the rainforest to have one, maybe two seasons of farming because the soil there is so poor, you literally get one, maybe two harvests after you burn it all to the ground. Um, is it the ancient people that were there for thousands of years before that created the most fertile soil we know of, terra preta, from the most infertile soil in the world in the Amazon basin? It is amazing. Like we knew how to do things we can't do now. For men to look down on other men who literally created like beautiful things that last for thousands of years, long before and after we die. I just don't. I don't understand that other than you're completely ignorant. Um, this lady is so sad if she thinks America still isn't equal. What do you mean by that, advanced? When did I say America wasn't equal? I think we're at the end of a cycle. And what do you mean equal to? It's only 250 years old. Our army's been marching longer, Stephen. I know it's so funny to me. People here think that like 100, 200 years old is really old. Isn't that so funny, Stephen? I like to watch this lady who does, it's called mudlarking. And I forget where she is. She's somewhere in Europe, I think in the UK. And so she goes digging through like ponds and streams and she finds all sorts of cool stuff. She has the most beautiful videos. I love her work. There's a few people that do it, but there's one lady in particular. She does such a good job and like cleaning off the item, and then like often she has like the pieces to put if it's just a piece of something, usually she has the other piece at home, and she'll show you like the she just had like this oil lamp and she had one piece and showed it completed. And it's just so funny because she'll find shit that's like hundreds of years old all the time, and it's like, wow, that would be so cool. Stone Papa Smurf, not all white men. See, this is the thing. So I can admit that like white women are full of a lot of, Karen is the worst kind of woman. And often it's a white woman that thinks she's some kind of authoritative person that can tell everybody else around her how to live. Does that mean that I think all white women are bad? All white women are like Karens? No, not at all. But I do think that they are some of the worst women on the planet. Do I think that all white men are like the white men I'm talking about? No. My husband's a white man. And my brother's a white man, my children are white men, technically. It's like you have to understand that nuance. The root cause of every problem in the world is caused by too much greed. Yes, and Dano. Yes. And like I said, I think the same issues touch women. Like I like to think that we're a little bit more grounded because we are responsible for bringing life to earth, but it's undeniable that we can get stunted too. You're lucky you can leave the house. In other countries, women need permission. Advanced tripod, is that what you were saying? I do get that advanced tripod if you're still in here. Totally still get that. That's why I talk a lot about our rights, like it's a slippery slope. And I get offended when people talk about women shouldn't be able to vote. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you think the ills of society are because of women's rights, like, I'm sorry, you need to go and learn about the history between like Iran and Britain. Sarah Holcomb, she has a great shorts about it. I wanted to post it on my channel, but I'm like, I don't know. I just like feel like I'm turning into like a fangirl page with her, but she had a great short so talking about like, I don't know, it started like in the 40s or 50s with Britain making this horrible deal with Iran, where Iran thought that they were getting like 83%. It turned out it was Britain getting 83% of their oil sales, and they were only getting 17%. And they just like they were taken advantage of, okay? And it wasn't too long after that, all this regime change, and then Britain was like, yeah, we're gonna help the bad guys. And like women in Iran before, they could drive, they dressed like women over here, like, you know, like in the 60s, 70s, they were wearing bell bottoms, and like they didn't have the burqas, and you know, and if that's your choice, if you really desire to dress like that, I think that that should be your choice. But people don't realize that these people in certain countries had more freedom, and it was because of honestly, some white countries messing with them, and then everybody turns around and looks down on like all the Muslims. Yes, it was the extremists that took over, but it's not all the Muslims. And I blame technology. If men and women had to train with a heavy sword and they only had that to fight, no guns, things would be so different. Anna, right? Who was saying that? Was it Kim Iverson? Somebody I really enjoyed listening to. She was saying that. She was like, you know what? I don't think we should have wars except for like back in the day, hand to hand combat. That should be the only, and I don't, you know, of course, like I get the sentiment. I don't want that to happen because I worry about my kids. But I do totally get that sentiment that like this isn't at a certain point, it gets to the point where what is going on right now, it's just a big technocracy. It's the people that have the most money. And like Elon Musk didn't start building rocket ships because he wanted to help humanity. He saw an opening. Hey, NASA is too big for its own britches. The government is giving out contracts. Government contracts are where it's at. I just saw this one company got $2 million to give ice and porta potties at one facility. $2 million. It cost us $40 a month to have one porta potty, and that was cleaned every week. I know that they probably need them cleaned more than once a week, but even so, how $2 million? How could you not plumb the place and add actual bathrooms for $2 million? So these things, it's like if you were aware, there's all sorts of people making bank, and that's one thing. Erica Kirk's family, you know, they had businesses that got government contracts, and then it's like, um, these people all look at us like we're peasants when we're the ones that literally make their society function. You're wrong and racist. How about it's rich men or rich families that do all this bad shit? Don't blame it on a whole race of people. I said rich white men, a Matthew. Okay, just to reiterate, I said the top 1%. I said I don't want to call them elite. I want to call them predatory. I don't know how long you've been in here, but I do not hate all white men. Disclaimer PSA. I don't think all white men are the problem. I think there's a few people who own 80% of everything in the world, and they all happen to be white men. How can you not see that? Am I the only one that sees what's going on in our country? Look at Trump's inauguration. There was a bunch of white men and one Asian guy, right? Am I wrong? And now that Asian guy's been replaced by a Jew. The TikTok people. I'm sorry. Like and what makes America so great is the diversity, and we have strength in diversity. That includes white people. I don't want white people to be nothing because there's a few bad ones that rose to the top. But technically, what does that mean? Somebody being drifted about? Well, Ryan, yeah, I'm going to bring up the divide and conquer methods and the people that are telling us to, like, you know, do the gender wars, the culture wars, the religion thing, the immigrants, be against immigrants, to be against trans people, which are like 0.2% of the population, and to like make everything into something is somebody else's doing, or somebody else is doing something bad and causing it. I'd rather point my finger at the actual problem, which is the rich billionaire white men that hoard wealth and resources from the rest of us. Because of the billionaires in the world, there's literally less money in the economy for the rest of us. And I know they literally don't have billions of dollars in their bank account. They have assets, net worth that is like, oh, a grizzly bear with a chainsaw. That's so funny that you have a chainsaw. Okay. Not so no people, that's a good point, Grizzly Bear. I don't see, even though technically they are their own race, I consider them white. I know that they don't think they are. I consider them white. And the definition of white changes from decade to decade. We were just talking about this. That, Irish people were looked down on. And they're white. They weren't allowed to work at certain businesses. People look down at them as like this less than, Italian people, which I know more Italian people are actually like olive skin. It's just so dumb. Because then there are olive skin tone people that are white because they're like Armenia and the Caucasus Mountains. And it's just all so dumb. And that's why NTYN was ran off of YouTube because she was doing the best job anybody's ever done at bringing to light in a purely educational way and the way only a true educator could do that this whole white stuff is BS. So when I say it myself, I'm thinking of like the specific people in my head: Trump, Bezos, Zuckerberg, uh, Peter Thiel, all these men that I don't know what is going on. Do you think it's only rich white men? Do you think things would change with any other rich people in power? Jimmy Bucket, that's a good question. I don't know for certain. I think that it probably would corrupt everybody because it's like, see, it's like the answer isn't communism or socialism, in my opinion. It's because you just give power to a man and it tends to corrupt them. Jimmy, do you think it's, oh, I am so bad at it. It should be all of us against the billionaires. Yes. Oh, Julie, yes. Okay, so let's it should be the working class. Oh, Grizzly Bear, thank you. I am married, but thank you. It should be the working class versus the ruling class. And I do not mean to incite any violence, although you know, French Revolution seemed to work. I'm not saying anything though. I don't want my children to have to suffer through a time like that. But I'm like, man, is that the inevitability? Um, it does seem to me. I'm not trying to fear monger. I think we're all like minded here at this point. They know our dollar is losing its value at a rapid pace, and our economy is going to collapse in upon itself. They want AI data centers to monitor us. They're not trying to help us all do research. They're not trying to help us all make cool little pictures. They're trying to keep data on us and our every single movement with all these flock cameras and ring doorbell cameras and stuff. It's true. That's what the data centers are for. And it's only going to be a matter of time till like whatever they say, okay, so now we're gonna like round up all the people that we know for a fact have done this or that. And that's when I'm gonna have a moat. I'm gonna be in a cave. Stop judging people based on their race and gender and start judging people based on their actions. Yeah, Jag. And when everybody with the same actions happens to be an old rich white man, I like why can't you point that out? If you're a white man and you're not like these rich white men, which chances are you aren't, but you're on YouTube watching my live, you're not out there fiending over how to take as much control as possible because you have more digits than you ever thought you would in your bank account and now you need more power, 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 control, 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 and that's all that matters to you because the thrill of life is lost because you have literally everything handed to you. We're not made for that. We're made to toil. We are made to work hard. We are made to be out in the sun and work in our physical bodies. Our souls were put in these bodies, and if you can't do that because you're disabled, we were here to help disabled people live too, and it's like that's how I look at it, is like we are better than them and we need to like be more positive and take pride in the fact that we literally make this show run. We do everything for everybody, and but like be proud about it. Don't be like a pissed off mom that's like ranting to everybody about how she's sick and not having any help. You're like, you know what? I'm awesome. I'm better than you. I'm better than anybody that thinks just having more stocks, more money in their bank account makes them better than anybody else. I and my soul are going to move on to a better place when my body dies because I did live a life of service. I do feel complete gratitude for just having what I have, and that's double wide on an acre. And I don't sit around like wanting more, more, more. Um, Oh, yes, I had a dad in my life, but, my parents got divorced. Since the ancient days, there's always a bunch of people that think they're far more superior than groups of people. There's also huge problems. Yes, and Dano, ever since people started living in communities and we stopped being hunters and gatherers, then people were like, we need to make a hierarchy. It's always been that we need to. And like some of it is a need to govern people. Okay. I gotta go. My kid wants to go. I'm gonna go live though, okay? Tonight, around 8 or 9. I personally would prefer more kilts running around than suits. Just saying. Anna, you're so funny. You're so funny. They're the ones she's talking about New York example. There's been one billionaire that got it on their own, Jimmy. Who is that, Jimmy? Beware anyone who has no doubt of their knowledge. And if you really are that her over me bringing up white men, and I'm not talking about I want you to be able to tell me things like, Stone Papa, like, I want you to be able to say, "Hey," like, I don't want you to not be able to express yourself. Huge difference between Zionists and Euro white. Um, how about the other side of rich and successful people? What about jobs and industries they've created? Is that bad too? Ryan, yes, it's bad when the wage stagnation. Yes, it's all bad. I'm not bowing down anymore to people because they create jobs. No, I'm not. I'm not. I worked for a factory that was a Japanese company that gave me and my family of five health insurance with dental and vision for $56 a month. That is amazing. Amazon and Walmart should be doing that for their employees too. They could. They could subsidize it. They don't care about anybody. They don't care about you. They don't care about creating a job for you, making life as affordable as possible for you. They don't care that your body is breaking down in order to be a cog in the wheel to make everything go. They don't care. No, I'm not bowing down to the people that create the jobs when all I want is a few acres so I can live in a permaculture closed loop system and be as self sustainable as possible because I'm so sick and tired of the siphoning. I'm so sick and tired of the bills going up. I'm so sick and tired of not making enough money to pay for everything you want to pay for. And then, oh, but like they're better than us because they create jobs. They're the owning class. We're automatically better by default because we work. We are better than them. We need to all have that attitude. We more of us need to have that attitude, you know? Oh, Tim, thank you. You voted to work, you voted to divide the household income, and now most of you are married. So when you vote to divide the household income, choose to not have a man and be a boss. Dead man system. I don't, you just said a mouthful from a movie line. I don't get it. Anna said to mute. Do you think hypothetically that if a person does not overcome trauma, they have failed in life according to the creator? Stone Papa, no, I wouldn't. No, I would like to think that God or the creator wouldn't hold that against somebody. You know what I mean? It's something they'll probably accomplish in their next lifetime, I hope. Oh, white girl magic. I don't. If you were rich, would you still hate them? Probably, Paul. Paul, I did I dated a millionaire. I've talked about it on here because I try to warn other girls. Yeah, no. What rich people aren't any better than anybody else. They're more morally corrupt. They think that they're better than everybody that actually has to work. And I'm here to tell you, they have more mental issues because of it. Because they don't have to work hard. It's bad for you to be handed everything. I look at them like amoebas. They literally are like a single cell organism that just floats around and exists. Everybody does everything for them. And no, I'm not jealous of that. I'm not. I have everything that I could have if I had tons of money, except for the ability to like travel and just like hand thousands of dollars to my kids. I live in a beautiful place. I eat good food. What more do you want from life than that? And having quality time with your family. You know what I mean? Rich people, they just get to be in beautiful places. I'm in South Central Kentucky, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen, and, that's good enough for me, you know? They aren't going to be creating anything by the age of soon anyways. Yeah, Julie, please research how Europeans and Jews are different. We are different. Just saying, they don't do physical I say, "Just saying." No, no, people don't do physical labor. I'm talking about how they say, like, I know the Ashkenazi I can't pronounce that. There is a DNA test that says, like, you are Ashkenazi how do you say it? Jewish or whatever, and it's like, but not all people that call themselves Jewish, it shows up on a DNA test, right? It's just really interesting to think about, and the whole point is, when I use the term white, I'm using it loosely because it really does mean different things to different people. It's subjective. There's no literal white across the board for everybody that's saying talking about the same thing, same people. A lot of us, we like say Kim Kardashian is white. People from Armenia are technically white. They're Caucasians. But like when most of us say white, we're not talking about people who are so olive skin toned, right? And it really is all dumb. It is dumb. And it's the guys who are at the top playing all the divide and conquer. That's what they want. They want people to get upset. I am white too. Yeah, I think that white people have done a lot of horrible things. That doesn't mean I think that white people shouldn't exist. When you are not content with what you have and look at the next person, what they have, you will always want more and more. Yes, exactly. Well, white girl, I'm getting ready to go, but I would love to talk to you more around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be on here. Let's say 8:30. Isn't there a chromosome most associated with IQ? You asked that before. Who gives males this chromosome? Isn't it the male that decides if it's XX or XY? But so now white girl magic, you're saying that men have higher IQ? Is that what you're trying to say? You cannot have everything for free. Right, Paul. Nobody has everything for free. Nobody does. And that's the whole point. As soon as people start talking about how the owning class, they are the ticks that are siphoning everything off the rest of us. They are the reasons why we can't afford healthcare often, that we can't afford to get a new car the same way we used to be able to, that like everything, the quality of everything is getting worse because of their greed, because of their lack of innovation, and what happens when somebody is lazy and doesn't really have to genuinely work, it turns into this. Everything's getting worse. Yeah, all of our lives are in their hands. Most of our jobs come from these people that we're talking about. And look, everything's getting worse. The wages have been stagnated for 40 years. Nothing's getting better. And this isn't evolution as far as I'm concerned. Like, we're not evolving as human beings because of this. I'm fair too. I want shade. And yeah, I've literally been saying that for 12 years. If I've been saying it for 12 years and you stupid people are just saying it now, I'm not happy. I'm actually pissed the fuck off, dead man said. Well, that's not going to help anything. 20% of the population pays 90% of the taxes. The bottom 50% pays about 2% of the taxes and uses a majority of them, Gob said. That's interesting, Gob. It's called supply versus demand. When you import tens of millions of people, everything becomes hyper competitive. It's just really interesting saying that. And like Amazon didn't pay income tax, or what tax was it Amazon didn't pay? They have their loopholes and you know it. And whenever it is like, this country was built for business owners. So if you yourself can be a business owner and use all those tax loopholes, as long as you don't get caught up in something like 2020 where there's no free market capitalism anymore because the government says Walmart can stay open, but your business can't because you're just a small mom and pop shop. Therefore, not having any free market capitalism, scene of the crash. Okay. It's why it's not right unless it's no, that's pretty good. Oh my gosh, Renner. Yeah, my message will get to those who it's supposed to, but we're all here to talk about we need to be as self-sustainable as possible and vote with our dollar. That's I've said that on my channel for years and years, and it used to feel silly. Now I'm like, no, this is like the message that I want to spread the most. Like, we need to help each other be as self-sustainable as possible, take as much money out of their pockets as possible, because yeah, their billionaire net worth, it's not billions of dollars in the bank. They need that constant cash flow. They need all their mini businesses that they just sit and let everybody do the work for them. That's what I'm saying. The owning class, no, they're not better than us just because they've created the system where we have to play in the rat race just to be able to pay our bills and eat and like, get our paycheck and pay our utility bill and get the food we need and put the gas in our car and then not have any money and do it all over again next week. Oh, I'm not grateful for that. I don't know why so many of you are. Um, yeah, I shop at Walmart sometimes, truth hurts. Usually starting in May, we go to farmers markets. And I've had plenty of times in my life where for months at a time, I didn't go to Walmart. That I truly got from one family farm in particular, dairy, meat, produce. But that's not as possible now that we live paycheck to paycheck and everything costs more. And I'm open about that. I don't go to the CSAs. I'm not a part of a CSA because we don't have like $350 to plop down on a season at a CSA, and I'm not ashamed of that. And that's another reason we need to all be able to say, like, yeah, this isn't right. It's not. I'm not ashamed. We're homeowners. We're good parents. We're good people. We aren't so stupid with our money. Have we made mistakes? Yes, but it's not about avocado toast and coffee. It's like life is unsustainable. No more wars, no more debt, no more inflation. Okay, I seriously do need to go. That dude's percentages are ridiculous too. Like, yes, I make 40,000 a year, pay less in taxes than millionaires, but the 8,000 in taxes I pay actually affects me while billionaires still get to buy a yacht. Thank you, Pro. Yes, that's a good way to say it. They have such exorbitant amounts of wealth that people like that think that they're like really saying something when they don't realize that we could all have free education, free higher education, free healthcare if they would pay their actual share, if they didn't use all the loopholes for their corporations. Everybody stop going to work for a month, big effects will happen. I wish, Cedric, yes, if we could band together and boycott and like even if it was like for a week, not get gas, like just 30% of us, and that's what they don't want us to do. I am proud to be white till I die. Well, that's good for you, Paul. You should be proud of yourself, but not at the expense of others. I'm from Namibia, which borders South Africa. Namibia. I'm sorry, I probably didn't say that right. That's cool, Sin. Well, it was nice talking to you guys. One man in this country has more money than some entire countries, but we act like it's absurd to expect that man to provide for the society he lives in, right, Pro? Oh, don't even get me started on Elon Musk. Remember when he said that he show me how to solve world hunger, and then somebody showed him a plan and he just shut up? And like he's just a great example. He's the racist one. In a world with people like Elon, I bet the people telling me I need to stop talking about white people think that that was okay, right? Like you all think that Elon Musk isn't racist, but me saying rich white men are literally destroying the planet because they are rich white men in their greed. That doesn't mean that all I look at no, it's no. I think that's really sad when people do that. I think that men can be so great, and we need great men now more than ever. Any color, um, not loopholes, written legal tax codes for big corporations. Yeah, seen in the crash. It's not wrong. Eagles don't run with turkeys. Oh, scene of the crash. You're one of those people there's probably like in the e-files, making locker room talk with them. Did you guys see Les Wexner's attorney being like, "I'm gonna effing kill you if you talk about that"? That's the kinda well, I'd rather more money, more problems, right? Like, I don't want that. I don't want to have millions of dollars and be sued every time I turn around and have somebody with their hand out. It really is a stressful life. Have my own attorney tell me that he'll effing kill me if I say something at Liberty. Okay, guys, love you guys. I will see you tonight, I hope. Michael, they're also not like he said, what about rich Arabs and blacks? All greedy people at the very top, they're problems. And I know there's like a lot of corruption in a lot of countries in Africa. I'm not saying that like everybody that's not white are perfect. But as far as like we're trying to say who is superior, there's a lot of white supremacy. And I never thought I would say that either. I thought that that was silly a few years ago when people said we lived in a white supremacist country, and I'm like, "Oh, it's totally white." That's why people get up in arms sometimes when you talk about white men. Oh, I'm not talking about you. If you're a white man, you have to know that. No, it's not billionaires, it's supply and demand. We only have so many good paying jobs and so many affording housing units. The more people competing for them, the more rent is high and wages are low. Yeah, Gob, especially you need to look into the numbers from like what billionaires before there was this many billionaires. CEOs, the people at the top of corporations didn't make like 80% of the profits from that corporation. It's like they pay people at the top. That's one reason healthcare is so exorbitantly expensive. The people at the top, the most paid person isn't that surgeon in the ER. It's the fucking hospital administrators. And it's wrong. It's wrong that we've turned everything into this for profit. And like everybody's okay with it because like especially if you're making some I can just tell like is a person is like probably a CPA like doing stuff for rich people and just like you can live in that mentality the rest of your life if you want to. I choose to only associate with people of the working class, only support people of the working class as much as possible. And it's a lot easier to do around here. And no, yeah, that doesn't mean you never literally go to Walmart. But oh, Thomas, that's really nice. I really do need to go though. Millionaires have the exact same write-offs as you do, and they just actually have accountants that know how to use them. God, what do you think about all the people in the Epstein files and the CSA, child sexual abuse material, and the obvious perverts that are trafficking children? What are your excuses for that? Like, um, these corrupt people are literally evil, taking innocence from others. That affects all of society. We'll talk about it more later. Love you guys.